The anime starts off with a narration explaining the prestigious Shirogane Academy and introduces the student council members Miyuki Shirogane, the president, and his vice president, Kaguya-sama. Within the council room, the two protagonists are discussing a rumor related to their relationship with each other. Their inner monologue consists of Miyuki and Kaguya both saying that they'd start a relationship if the other begged them for it. After half a year where neither has admitted to their obvious feelings for one another, both of them are thinking that even a confession would suffice, as compared to the prior begging condition. The council secretary, Chika Fujiwara, meanwhile, offers them tickets to a romantic movie. Miyuki was originally going to accept the tickets, but reels back when Chika tells them that people who watch a romantic movie together turn into a couple. Kaguya proceeds to ask Miyuki whether he was planning to invite her, because it would be akin to admitting that he has feelings for her. Miyuki proceeds to downplay the rumor to avoid letting his feelings come across and invites Kaguya, stating that she believes in the rumor more than she should. It comes to view that Kaguya was the reason why Chika won the tickets, in an attempt to get Miyuki to confess. As Miyuki turns the tables on her, she feigns ignorance and asks to be invited more passionately, reversing the tables again. She even grabs his hand in an attempt to gain the upper hand. Chika ends up offering tickets to another movie, causing the duo to have a meltdown. They need sugar, but Chika takes the last bun and runs off. Both of them lose. In the council room, Kaguya tells Miyuki and Chika that she received a love letter and she plans on accepting the invitation. Miyuki is perturbed but realizes that he mustn't directly dissuade Kaguya, who merely bluffs that she plans to go. Miyuki states that he'll tell on Kaguya, who refutes, saying she'll accept nonetheless. After a back and forth about whether Kaguya truly loves her admirer, Chika confesses her own feelings and that she doesn't want her expelled. Kaguya loses. Miyuki and Kaguya witness a couple having a moment. Kaguya considers it improper, where Miyuki doesn't pay it any mind and opens his lunch. The lunch looks delicious and Chika asks for a bite. Chika continues to eat while Kaguya can't swallow her pride to ask for a taste. Next day, Kaguya brings a luxurious lunch in the hopes of trading it with Miyuki's. However, Miyuki runs away after finishing his lunch quickly, due to the intimidating aura around Kaguya. Kaguya wins as Miyuki flees. Miyuki purchases a smartphone and exchanges IDs with Chika, hoping to get Kaguya's as well, but she doesn't ask for his ID. Kaguya, of course, is aware of Miyuki's purpose, so they begin the battle of who will ask first. To get the edge, Miyuki uploads his childhood picture and shows it to Chika, saying it's embarrassing so he'll change it in 3 minutes. Kaguya counters with fake tears, and Miyuki ends up showing her the picture. All's fair in love and war. After a conversation on the weather, the duo realize how fast time is flying without any progress. Chika then proposes to go on a trip this summer. Of course, Kaguya and Miyuki are at odds with whether they should go to the sea or the mountains. After a heated debate, Chika chooses the final destination and decides on going to a macabre mountain. The outcome of the battle is a ruined trip. Tsubasa asks Miyuki for love advice due to the rumor that he's an expert. Kaguya listens in when Tsubasa explains that he loves Nagisa and wants to tell her, but he's too afraid of rejection. Miyuki tells him that Nagisa is in love with him because she's given him chocolate before. After a bit more details involving Nagisa's friends, Miyuki comes to the conclusion that all her friends have feelings for him too. Miyuki then advises Tsubasa to confess up front to avoid ruining the relationship within the group. Tsubasa thanks Miyuki and praises him for getting Kaguya to fall for him, to which Miyuki interjects, stating how they're not dating due to Kaguya's many flaws, all of which Kaguya overhears. When Miyuki finally notices that Kaguya is listening in, he suddenly changes his tune and says the flaws are why he likes her the most. At the end, Tsubasa follows Miyuki's advice to be true to himself and ends up wooing Nagisa. Chika and Kaguya read a lewd magazine the principal has confiscated. In it, they learn from a survey that a third of high school students have done the deed. This heightens Miyuki's curiosity when Kaguya states that she's not a virgin and that she believed the figure to be higher. This obviously gets Chika flustered, while Kaguya uses the opening to ask Miyuki whether he has a girlfriend or not. He refuses to answer, which causes Kaguya to push further and ask whether he's done it. Miyuki bluffs that he has, to which Kaguya responds by stating that it must have been with his sister. Miyuki loses his mind and Kaguya takes it up a notch by stating that she's done it with her baby nephew. Realizing the stupidity of this information, Miyuki asks whether she even knows what it is. She believes it's kissing. With the reveal of the lack of information Kaguya has on the topic, Chika takes it upon herself to educate her. Kaguya loses. After working the entire day, the two council members start talking about how much Kaguya has changed since the start of the school year, and how Miyuki knows her better now. This starts a challenge of 20 questions, where Kaguya assesses how well he knows her. The questions are an obvious ploy where Kaguya plans on getting Miyuki to confess, as they're all leading questions. Of course, Miyuki understands the scenario and answers that what she loves is a dog. Kaguya walks to school with Ai Hayasaka, her valet, after her car is unable to get going due to a cat. Although her original plan is to run into Miyuki, she ends up walking a scared little girl named Mikiri to school, until she meets up with her friend. Miyuki appears and gives Kaguya a bike ride to school to avoid being late. A cosplay party is to be held for visitors from France. Kaguya ends up in cat ears and Miyuki ends up in obvious distress due to the cuteness. Kaguya then puts the ears on Miyuki and ends up in a similar predicament, only giving away that he looks good. Miyuki feels that she's being sarcastic due to the held-back grin Kaguya gives. Kaguya then tries to force Miyuki for a picture, which Miyuki opposes, but after an interjection by Chika, they take a group photo and Chika confiscates the cat ears. Chika assesses that sweets will be needed for the event, and as such they begin a game of banned word to decide which two people will go. Chika starts rapping and Kaguya tries to remain silent. Of course, Miyuki forces her to speak. He inquires as to what Chika hates to get an advantage over Kaguya. Chika reveals that people say that she can't assess situations and seems sad at the memory. Kaguya tries to comfort her but unknowingly says her banned word. Not wanting to lose his conviction, Miyuki proclaims that he's going to get serious, which is his banned word, so he loses. Chika wins. Kaguya and I discuss whether Miyuki has contacted her. Of course, he hasn't, but neither has Kaguya. After a series of words, I assesses that Kaguya loves him, to which the latter declines. There's a heavy downpour the next day, and Kaguya sends a text to Miyuki, who's waiting at the spot about canceling the plan. The welcoming party is a success, and the council is praised by Adolphe Pescarlo, the principal. During the event, a French student approaches the two and Miyuki has trouble speaking with her, even though he claims to Kaguya that he knows the language. Kaguya ends up speaking fluently with the girl, not only her, so can Chika, taking Miyuki aback. The principal intentionally sets this up to assess Miyuki and sends Betsy to comfort Miyuki rather aggressively. Miyuki, of course, doesn't understand the lashing she gives him and just nods and smiles. Betsy ups the level of her disparage, to which Kaguya interjects and sends Betsy running from the terror of Kaguya's tongue lashing. Miyuki thanks Kaguya for helping him out. Nagisa approaches Kaguya for advice on breaking up with Tsubasa. Her reason is the distance between the two after the initial confession. Kaguya advises her to focus on Tsubasa's positive traits to develop feelings for him. Chika pops up and asks Nagisa to imagine Tsubasa with someone else, causing Kaguya to imagine the same about Miyuki. Chika states that their jealousy is due to their love for the person. Kaguya adds that an impediment to the lovers would develop further feelings, with Chika stating that society itself is the enemy, causing Nagisa to run off and face it with her boyfriend. In the school gym, Miyuki is practicing volleyball. He seems to have trouble with everything but studying, and honestly I feel you there. Chika enters the picture and offers to help the flustered Miyuki. This leads to Chika realizing that Miyuki is quite helpless and leading to a 4-day training marathon. The training ends in a success with Miyuki making Chika proud with his newly learned skills. Kaguya decides to walk home in the rain after the day ends. Both Miyuki and Kaguya bluff that they don't have an umbrella, but this turns into a battle where they get the other to expose their lie. Of course, Kaguya sets this up to gain the upper hand, but right before she's about to win, Chika arrives and hands Kaguya an umbrella. With her plan ending in failure, the two end up sharing the umbrella home. A tie. Yu Ishigami, the treasurer of the student council, is introduced with him putting forth his resignation due to the fear of being murdered by Kaguya. He believes this to be true because he's repeatedly foiled Kaguya's plans in the past. He further states that Chika is in more danger because of the way Kaguya stares at her. Kaguya suddenly enters the room, covered in blood with a knife in hand, demanding to speak with Yu. The two boys are horrified, and to further their dilemma, Chika enters with a knife in her chest. Of course, the both were just playing a prank while helping the drama club. Yu believes it's a trap, but Miyuri tells him to believe in his friends. Kaguya then threatens Yu not to resign. Yu was probably onto something. Chika takes a personality test of Miyuki with Kaguya on looking expectantly. The first question reveals that Miyuki wants 9 kids. The next question is indicative of who you're in love with by asking who would be chasing them on a dark path. Yu answers with Kaguya, and Kaguya answers with Chika, whereas Miyuki responds with his sister. Of course, after the results are revealed, Miyuki is turned to Syscon while Yu leaves for a hospital. Chika then pulls a Kaguya move on Kaguya and pulls up a question from the internet about how much you love someone based on how many flowers you would give them. Kaguya answers with a bouquet, while Miyuki states that he'd get a truckload, resulting in Miyuki's loss for the day. Ai visits Kaguya, who scolds her for coming, but Ai counters and ends up doing Kaguya's nails to impress Miyuki. The next day is filled with Kaguya wondering whether the president will notice and tries to bring his attention to her nails. Miyuki, of course, notices them immediately but doesn't comment on them for the fear of creeping her out, like Yu, who gets called a creep for noticing Chika's shampoo. Miyuki, realizing how bashful he's being, tries to compliment Kaguya in the schoolyard, but fails. Kaguya wins. Tsubasa comes along again, asking for advice from Miyuki on holding Nagisa's hand with Kaguya at eavesdropping distance. Miyuki advises him to rent a room and further suggests the broke student to get a part-time job and maybe rent a cheap boat. Miyuki further tells Tsubasa to get surgery for his sweaty hands, enforcing the need for a job over summer vacations. He states that he'll help him too. Chika intervenes to avoid Miyuki ending into a work session over the summer. She advises Tsubasa to just grab Nagisa's hand. After a few days, the two hold hands on a date. Yu discusses with Miyuki the caste system driving club activities, and some excessive budget cuts. To avoid a penalty on the clubs, Miyuki tells Yu to join one too. He is told Kaguya is in the archery club while Chika is in the tabletop gaming club. Of course, Yu berates Kaguya's club, and the two girls gang up on him, breaking him emotionally and making him leave for the day. As per our norm. When Yu leaves, Chika tries to get Miyuki to join his club for a budget increase. After a back and forth between Kaguya discussing and Chika persuading, the day ends with Miyuki's win. Chika notes the change in Kaguya since middle school before changing to a conversation about her dog, Pess, and his wiener. Kaguya laughs hysterically as she finds wiener to be a dirty word, a weakness Chika takes complete advantage of. Miyuki enters and Chika tries to get Miyuki to say the word, but Kaguya makes her attempts fail. Frustrated, Chika just says it herself and triggers Kaguya into a laughing spree. Miyuki runs in terror and Chika wins. Kei, Shirogane, Miyuki's sister, is welcomed by Kaguya to the council room. Miyuki is in a meeting, so Kaguya schemes to get Kei to call her Onisan by the end of the day. Kei needs help with her student council's paperwork, and Kaguya steps in to help her with the motive of gaining favor with her. Yu foils her plans by interrupting and giving her some good advice himself. Chika comes up and it's revealed that Kei is close friends with Chika's sister, Mohei Fujiwara. Hence the reason why Kei is close to Chika too. Kei calls Chika Onisan, causing Kaguya some ample dejection. That dejection turns to vengefulness as Kaguya learns of their shopping trip, but this dissipates when she's invited to the same. School finals are coming up, with each student council member with their own plans towards clearing them, Miyuki and Kaguya being in a major study crash while pretending to be casual about it. Yu is given tutoring lessons by Kaguya, and they spend a week studying for their exams. Kaguya helps him barely pass. Miyuki, of course, is top of his class again. A thunderstorm has approached the area, causing all trains to stop. Kaguya sees this as an opportunity to drive Miyuki home, but of course she plans on making him ask her for a lift. Chika butts in, offering Miyuki a ride on her taxi before escorting her outside the school, before going on to manipulate Miyuki by telling him that missing work would lower his status. Miyuki runs off to the bathroom to think about whether he should ask Kaguya for a ride or pay the taxi fare. While Miyuki is out, Kaguya gets a message that the trains are back on, so she replaces Miyuri's battery so he doesn't get the notification. Feeling that she's won, Kaguya heads outside while a rushed Miyuki rides past her on his bike, having resolved to make it to work. Kaguya is sick in bed, so the council members must deliver notes to her. This leads to a game of concentration to decide who goes to her house. Miyuki wins a rock-paper-scissors match and goes first. He realizes that Chika is cheating by using marked cards, so he loses 5 points, and they start the game with a different deck. The game continues, and Yu makes Miyuki indirectly realize that the reason she caught a cold was because of him. Miyuki, motivated through his sense of responsibility, notices how Chika places her king and ends up winning the game. After the win, Miyuki ends up in a fever-ridden Kaguya's room. Ai leaves him there with strong implications. The predicament leads to the two falling asleep together and Miyuki being thrown out the next day. Principal Adolphe has given the student council 2 slices of strawberry shortcake, an uneven number for sure. that is further reduced when Yu eats a slice. This leads to a battle between the already heated, due to the last time's bed sharing event, Kaguya and Miyuki over who will eat the last piece. Yu heads out to get Chika to help ease the situation while the two argue over the cake. Chika comes in and eats it herself. Definitely one way of solving the problem. Kaguya and Miyuki both go on to seek advice from Nagisa and Yu respectively about making up with each other. They somehow help the duo see how they regret the situation, after which Miyuki and Kaguya make up after Kaguya touches his lips. The result of the match is that they both win. Summer vacation begins the next day and the student council discuss their plans. Miyuki tries to have everyone meet up, but Chika has plans to go to Hawaii. Miyuki tries to somehow convince her to attend an event closer to home, but to no avail. Yu, on the other hand, agrees to meet at the summer festival with Miyuki and Kaguya, but unfortunately Chika would be in Spain. Chika then expects that no one will meet up because she's away, but Yu tells her off for being selfish. Chika runs away and Yu is thanked by Miyuki and Kaguya. During the vacation, I finds out that Miyuki is rotting at home through Twitter, which, by the way, shameless plug, you can find ours in the description. Kaguya tries to look up what Twitter is about, but fails and assumes the internet isn't working. We're enlightened over how technologically inept Kaguya is, so I helps her make an account. Kaguya follows everyone, but not without further help from I. Chika comes back from her tour and goes to a ramen shop with a certain Saburo Otojima there for the perfect meal. Chika orders the same meal as his except a bowl of noodles. After a monologue where he compares her to the 4 ramen emperors, Chika finishes her meal to a thumbs up by the ramen master, resulting in Chika's win. Miyuki is still down in the dumps because of the boring vacation time with Kaguya in the same predicament. Neither contacts the other, but instead tries to catch a glimpse of each other at school. Miyuki arrives just after Kaguya has left, leaving a void in both as they wish the summer vacations would end soon. Soon after, a shopping plan between the members is on the way, but Kaguya has to cancel because of a summons to Kyoto by her family, thereby canceling their plans. Kaguya has a really overbearing family. Kaguya is getting ready for the summer festival where the entire student council plans to meet up, but her father interjects and disallows her from going. She posts her resentment on Twitter, which Miyuki sees, making him head over to her house on his bike. At the same time, Ai plans on helping Kaguya escape by acting as her double, letting her head to the festival on a taxi. Miyuki arrives at her house just after and sees Ai. Assessing the situation, he heads to the festival. While this is happening, Kaguya is stuck in traffic and her driver states that she'll miss the fireworks at this place. Desperate, Kaguya runs for the festival on foot, but she's too late. Kaguya starts crying, but Miyuki suddenly shows up and grabs her and the rest of the members. The 4 then head over to Chiba to catch the fireworks show there. They manage to catch the show while en route, but it seems Miyuki has further ingrained himself in her heart, as Kaguya simply can't look away from him. The new school year starts with Kaguya still flustered over the festival's events. Miyuki assumes she's avoiding him because he couldn't show her the fireworks from up close. They keep trying to initiate conversations while working in the student council room throughout the day, but fail repeatedly. Yu and Chika are shot down and removed from the room for getting in the way before Kaguya and Miyuki finally bump into each other. Kaguya tries to tell him about the day of fireworks, but due to the flustered way she speaks, Miyuki misinterprets what she's trying to say, leading to a flustered president running out and Kaguya chasing after him. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.